So today we're going to be covering Hitler's rise to power in Europe and Germany. And now his rise to power did not happen in a vacuum. We have other radical politics emerging in Europe at this time. So in 1933, Hitler is elected Chancellor of Germany. So it's important to note that he is democratically elected, and his party is democratically elected into parliament. So he does not stage a military coup, and it's not a military dictatorship or a military revolution. He becomes leader of Germany democratically. And he does this by appealing to the German people with promises of power and strength for Germany, making Germany a powerful and strong state once again. He also does this by picking certain groups amongst the German population who are going to be scapegoats. And as we know, this is the Jewish people, homosexuals, gypsies, Romas, people who are mentally and physically disabled. So he picks on these minority groups and makes them scapegoats, blames them, who he sees as foreigners, for the conditions that Germany is facing, the economic conditions especially. So in 1933 to 1939, Hitler rebuilds the German army, and we know this is a violation of the Treaty of Versailles, because the Treaty of Versailles limited the German army to 100,000 men. While Hitler is rebuilding the army, he's rebuilding the navy that was completely disbanded. France and Britain, however, aren't ready to step in yet, even though this is a violation to the Treaty of Versailles. When Hindenburg dies, which is the president of Germany at the time, the army swears an oath to Hitler, and he becomes both the president and chancellor, so he is now in full control of the German government. His first step is to get rid of the SA, which is the German police. He believes they are no longer loyal to him, they're gaining too much power, and they're not as loyal as he would like them to be. So in the Night of the Long Knives, which is what this day is called, he has the SS execute all the SA officers and leaders. Hitler now is the absolute dictator of Germany. He's got control of the army, who have just sworn allegiance to him. He's got control of his secret police, the SS. This is a picture of the SA. Note how organized they are. Note the type of propaganda. We see the flags they're carrying. And this would be a picture of the SS. And we see here on the caption, it's a photo from Nazi propaganda cards. So these are the dreaded SS officers. Interesting note, their uniforms are made by Hugo Boss, the famous brand we have today. So Hitler's rise to power continued. His cabinet declares a state of emergency. What that means is they are declaring a state of emergency that allows the government to then violate freedoms and rights of individual people in order to protect the nation, in order to protect the German state. And so this ends individual freedoms, which include freedom of the press. The press is now completely controlled by the state. It's a propaganda machine. We've got the freedom of speech violated, so you are no longer allowed to oppose the government publicly. You can face very severe punishments for this, and the freedom of assembly. So you are not allowed to associate with people who might pose a problem for the government. So you've lost your right to privacy. Mail could be opened, telephone conversations can be recorded, and your homes could be searched just in case you are a political threat to Hitler's government. And if you are, you might be taken away to a concentration camp. Political opposition and political opposition leaders are the first people who are taken away to concentration camps. This doesn't happen in a vacuum, however. So elsewhere in Europe, this is happening as well. We've got Italy, Spain, and Soviet Union, where we have other dictators who are assuming power, and where individual rights are being violated. And if we recall communism in Canada and the Red Scare, we know the Canadian government has been engaging in some similar action. So they have violated people's right to privacy and freedom of speech. You have undercover RCMP officers going to labor union meetings and demonstrations and labor rights demonstrations, and there is a communist scare in Canada as well. People are being searched. So this kind of mentality is not only in Europe, and it's not only in Germany.